escenario Aude Conques Ravaux. Ella es la Head of Advertising, Privacy and Sustainability EMEA de Google. Aude, no sé si estás por aquí. Ok, perfecto. Bienvenida, welcome.
Could I have some... Thank you. Oh. Welcome, and thank you for joining me for this session. My name is Aude Conques Ravaux, and I'm Head of Advertising, Privacy, Responsibility and Sustainability at Google. I'm working in advertising for 15 years, and like any good marketer, I'd like to start by listening to my audience. So please raise your hand if you ever felt a bit uncomfortable about the amount of information available about you online. Please keep your hands up if you ever felt a pang of worry about the kind of content younger people in your life might be exposed to online. And now, let's look at the hands of the people who have consciously chosen a product because of its eco-certified label or the company's commitment to sustainability. Thank you. Very insightful. You can all take a break now while I try to master the presentation. It's clear that, as well as being great marketers, you're also just like the people you're trying to reach. People care about privacy. People care about online safety, and they care about the planet. 43% of people say they would switch from their preferred brand to their second choice brand if the latter provided a good privacy experience. 82% of the people say that it's important that the content of online ads is appropriate. And people are even willing to pay more, on average 9.7%, for products that are responsibly or sustainably sourced, despite the increased cost of living and volatile inflation. The message to us as marketers is clear. These issues influence how people shop and behave online. And consumers are expecting us to play a role in addressing the society's biggest question. There isn't just an ethical responsibility to address those questions, but also a systemic responsibility to drive growth for our businesses via more responsible marketing. At Google, we have been working for many years to support the growth of businesses of any size via responsible marketing tools and practices. And we are anchoring our approach on 3 foundational principles. Putting people first and at the center of our decisions. Like Google's founder said, focus on the user and all else will follow. Operating responsibly and tackling problems at scale by collaborating with the industry. Today, I'd like to share with you how this framework helped us approach people's evolving expectation of brands to safeguard their experience online and to contribute to a more sustainable future. And also how it can help your brands drive growth via more responsible marketing. According to a recent survey, only 3% of European consumers feel in control of their data. And this tells us, as an industry, that we can do more. This greater demand for privacy is what drives us at Google to build greater trust in Google and in our advertisers and partners. Everything Google builds is designed to put people first. Secure by default, and private by design. As an example, My Ad Center is a solution that is translating Google's privacy principles into action. It lets people decide which data is stored and used for ads, select their preference of topic and brands, and decide to turn on or to turn off ad personalization. It puts people more in control of the ads they see and create transparency over how their data is being used. By empowering people to take control over their privacy, brands can help people to take control over their experience online. And when people feel respected, they are more inclined to buy more from your brands. As the demand for privacy grows, the regulatory and technological landscape is evolving rapidly. And for marketers, it is paramount that when they are using Google solutions, we help them adapt while continuing to reach relevant audiences and effectively measure campaign performance. In this context, advertiser first-party data paired with Google AI can help marketers drive growth and performance in a privacy-centric world. Modern measurement solutions like consent mode and enhanced conversion allow marketers to respect user consent choices and model conversion data that are not directly measurable. Telecommunication company, Mass Mobile, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, use consent mode to respect user consent choices and get a more accurate picture of how their campaign were performing. As a result, the brand achieved an 11% increase in conversion and managed to future-proof their campaign measurement. As I said, privacy is an industry-wide challenge, and sometimes it requires all the industry to come together to find solutions at scale. That's the reason why Google Chrome invited all publishers, developers, advertisers, and more to contribute to the development of new privacy standards as part of their Chrome Privacy Sandbox initiative. This initiative aims at leveraging privacy-enhancing technologies to protect people's privacy while providing tools to companies and developers to build thriving businesses online. As of today, over 60 companies have already contributed to the development of the Privacy Sandbox. It aims at reducing cross-app and cross-site tracking, providing more control to users, while helping to keep internet services and content free for all. While it's important to keep internet free for all, it's also critical to make internet a safer place for everyone. Children and teenagers can access a world of possibilities online. And advertising is democratizing access to incredible content for families, no matter their social economic status. We at Google, and as parents, recognize the responsibility we share with the industry to provide a high-quality experience to families online. It has been a long-standing priority for Google to make internet a safer place for young people. And we are doing it by preventing age-sensitive ads categories from being shown to children and teenagers, prohibiting ads personalization for users under 18s, and not serving personalized ads to anyone on made-for-kids content, in addition to other age-appropriate ads policies. We are also globally investing in products and practices to help protect young people from exploitation and endangerment online. And we are also developing solutions like Family Link and supervised experience on YouTube to provide tools to parents to understand how their children and teenagers are spending time online. Part of creating a safer internet for everyone is also about protecting people from bad actors that contribute to abuse like fraud, scam, and the spread of misinformation. Google is contributing to create a safer ads ecosystem by catching bad online ads and suspending fraudulent accounts before they made it to our platforms or as soon as we detect them. In 2023, we blocked or removed over 5.5 billion ads and blocked or restricted ads from servings on over 2.1 billion publisher pages. In 2018, we launched a new advertiser identity verification program and expanded it in 2020, making it now a requirement for all advertisers on our platforms to verify their identities. It's important because it helps people better understand who are the advertisers behind the ads they see, so they can make more informed decisions. It also contributes to the health of the digital advertising ecosystem by identifying bad online actors and limiting their attempt to misrepresent themselves. Unsuitable context is also a challenge for both marketers and people. If shoppers don't get the experience they expect, brands are facing decreased interest. As part of Google advertising buying platforms, we have a number of controls that can make you confident that you are reaching your audiences in a suitable context. For example, we have broad controls like inventory mode, which is a primary control for content exclusion, or more granular ones like placement that allow you to remove specific channels or videos. Those controls make up a core part of our advertising infrastructure and help us achieve our bigger goal to protect our advertising partners' brand value while delivering performance and efficiencies. By serving ads in a suitable context, brands can also reduce waste, either by showing again and again the same ads to people not interested, or by using placement that people can actually see and interact with. By tackling the challenge of sustainable advertising, the industry can improve marketing performance by reducing waste and tap into positive customer sentiment toward more sustainable choices. Collective action and AI, artificial intelligence, can help build a more sustainable future for everyone. A report by Google and the Boston Consulting Group shows that AI has the potential to mitigate 5 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, which is the equivalent of the European Union emissions. We believe that technological innovation can play a critical role in the transition to a carbon-free future. And we are committing to doing our part by connecting people with information so they can make more sustainable choices, reducing our own emissions, and developing sustainable digital products. A more sustainable future is going to be built over billions of decisions made by people, organizations, businesses, and governments. Organizing and making this information useful is at the heart of our mission. Over the last 2 years, our core products have helped more than 1 billion users make more sustainable choices. And we are doing it by connecting them with information via our product so they can make more sustainable decisions. For example, like the new update of Google Search and Google Maps, making it easier to find alternatives to flying or driving. And also by creating tools for businesses that allow them to show up and play a role in more environmentally conscious decisions, like eco-certified hotels or pre-owned labels. Our efforts to mitigate climate change has started since our founding with our own operations. We started purchasing clean energy in 2010. And in 2017, we were the first major company to match 100% of annual electricity consumption of our global operation with renewable energy purchases. Our approach to achieve our net zero goal is anchored on three main aspects: reducing emissions of our operation and supply chain, advancing carbon-free energy, and addressing residual emission via carbon removals. In 2020, we set a goal to operate all our data centers and office campuses on a 24/7 carbon-free energy on every grid where we operate by 2030. Part of our action to drive change is also about collaborating with partners across the industry. As part of this work, we are working with many partners to align on a standardized methodology for measuring advertising carbon emissions. Google is a founding member of AdNet Zero, which is an industry-wide initiative to tackle the impact of advertising carbon impact. And we are investing and working to expand its principle and build support for global actions. Advertisers and brands that follow solid sustainability practices can drive more loyalty and revenue. Consumers are seeking out sustainable products. As shown by the Stern Market Share Index, products marked as sustainable grew twice as fast as conventional products not marked as sustainable. One brand we are helping to increase both advertising performance and carbon efficiency is EDF, one of Europe's largest energy suppliers. By optimizing their media buyings towards both efficiency and viewability, EDF managed to decrease its carbon emission by 30% and achieve a ROI of 1.71. There is a clear motive to take a more intentional and proactive approach to privacy, online safety, and sustainability with our marketing. But there is also a clear disconnect. Too few of us are actually doing it. And it's up to all of us, leaders in this room, to change that. But leadership goes beyond processes and management. It takes a personal decision and behavioral influence. Use your leadership to inspire change among your team and become responsibility influencers by driving growth for your business via more responsible marketing. And let's start today. Thank you. Now, please join me in welcoming Kim Dirckx.
Hi, Aude. Hi, everyone.
So, Kim,
yes.
You are a global head of advertising, it's me, of sustainability, strategic partnerships and innovation at L'Oréal.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to have you with me on stage today. Could you start by presenting yourself and what you're doing at L'Oréal?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. But before I continue, Aude, do you mind if I do it in Spanish?
Of course.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días a todos. Soy Kim Dirckx. Estoy muy emocionada de poder estar con ustedes aquí el día de hoy. Madrid tiene un lugar especial en mi corazón. Viví en Madrid durante 3 años, cuando era un poco más joven, cuando estaba en high school. Entonces, pues muy emocionado de estar aquí. Bueno, como decía Aude, yo llevo la estrategia digital de sostenibilidad a nivel global para L'Oréal, así como todo lo que es con respecto a diversidad, equidad e inclusión, todo con respecto a marketing. Y también llevo Open Innovation y Strategic Partnerships.
Gracias, Kim. Unfortunately, it's the only thing I can say in Spanish. So, responsibility and sustainability is core to L'Oréal's strategy. Could you share with us what it means for L'Oréal and how you make it a reality across all your many different brands?
Yes, of course. So, sustainability is actually a long-standing commitment within L'Oréal. Actually, our journey started in 2009 when we set our first reduction commitments across our plants, etc. And in 2013, we launched our first sustainability program, which was called Sharing Beauty with All, which then evolved in 2020 into L'Oréal for the Future. So, very long commitments. And then around the Paris Agreement in 2015, we also committed officially to sustainability commitments with the Science Based Target Initiative, and which we actually right now again ratified. So we reconfirmed our commitment to a 1.5 degree future at the end of 2023. And the interesting thing here is that for this new commitment that we made for 2030 and 2050, we have also included digital decarbonization. So we have now official reduction commitments on our digital activities for L'Oréal. And I'm not sure if many of you know, but for us, digital represents close to 12% of our total CO2 footprint at L'Oréal, so it's massive. It's actually the third largest in the group. It's right behind raw materials and packaging. So definitely a big role that we will have to play as marketers and digital experts. And then you also mentioned, so there's a lot of work that we're doing in terms for the planet, etc. But there's also a lot of things that we're doing for the people. So our commitments do not stop there. It's also around responsibility. And here we of course have many initiatives, global initiatives in terms of human rights, in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion, inclusive sourcing, etc. But we also have digital commitments. We just launched our new responsible advertising and marketing communications policy, which is external, which shows our commitments and guardrails and guidelines with respect on how we try to protect our consumers in terms of our advertising. So this policy goes actually from responsible media and content, where we talk about brand safety, suitability, making sure that the claims that we have in our advertising are science-based. It talks about human rights, diversity, equity, inclusion, marketing to children, very important. We have, of course, especially with everything, I'm not sure if you know, but everything that's been going on around Sephora Kids, etc. So really making sure that we protect the children, that we don't reach consumers that are below 16 years old, except for basic hygiene products. And of course, we partner with Google to make sure that this is the case. Another one of our commitments is around data privacy and ethics, around the use of Gen AI. So we have also an external commitment that we will not use AI-generated assets, a bit lifelike body, face, etc., images, to enhance product benefits, etc. So very strong commitments there, and of course around sustainability as well, where we have commitments in terms of our ads messaging, but also on our decarbonization pathway. So this is more or less the commitments that we have then and brought back to digital.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's a lot. So, to put things in practice for marketers in this room, could you share how L'Oréal is looking at sustainable marketing?
Yeah. Not sure how familiar you are all with where the CO2 emissions of digital come from. So just to bring everybody at the same level, it is the energy that is being consumed to be able to host. First, to produce the content, to host the assets on the data centers, to transmit those assets, then to have the consumer view those assets on their phone, and then it's about digital waste as well, so the end of life of the devices. So all of this is the life cycle assessment of digital, and all of this requires energy, and which is where the CO2 emissions come from. It is also important to mention, and it's a small caveat, that the way, and Aude mentioned it as well, there's not really a standardized, well now there is, but there was not a standardized way of measuring carbon emissions for digital. It's still very nascent. And the way that we've been doing it is we've been using the GHG protocol measurement frame, which means that we're using spend, so all of our digital media spend, and specific emission factor to be able to measure our baseline. Of course, this has some limitations. First of all, it's a ballpark figure, it's not an actual measurement, because it does not take into account electricity grids of the countries, the formats, etc., performance versus awareness marketing, so it's still very limited. But the second biggest limitation is that we will continue, of course, to continue our spend on platforms such as Google. I mean, marketing is not going to slow down. And of course, then our emissions will continue to grow with marketing. So it's very important that if, for example, for L'Oréal, if we want to commit to reductions, we need to be able to decouple our spend from those emissions. The only way to do that is moving away from a spend-based approach and going to an activity-based approach. So this is what we're doing together with the startups that we're working with. So for example, to give you an example for content production, we're working with AdGreen, which is UK levy, that have developed a carbon calculator with whom we're working and with our agencies, and they will include for all of our hero content shoots, they will include all of the particularities to that shoot, how many people traveled, what was the filming spaces, did we use renewable energy, what is the type of catering. All of that comes together, and we are then able to understand what is the carbon footprint of each of and every one of our shoots. And then this will also allow us to understand what are the levers that we can then optimize to reduce that footprint, such as, for example, travel, which is very important, filming spaces, etc. Another example with media. Here we're using Impact Plus, which is a French startup. With them, they have developed a SaaS solution that directly connects to Google Ads and other platforms, and are allowing us to be able to understand what is the carbon footprint of each and every one of our media activations, and we have many throughout the year. So this is allowing us to start building that baseline. But what is also important is that, again, with the startup and with the support from Google and other platforms, we're able to identify what are the levers for reduction. An example, if we want to reach a consumer that is connected on a mobile device versus connected TV, we don't need the same resolution in our asset, right? We don't need the same amount of pixels, etc. We don't need the same specs. So if we reduce the specs or the resolution of those assets, depending on the device that we're targeting, we can, on average, already reduce our carbon footprint on our media campaigns by around 30%. So already quite massive, and no impact on media performance KPIs. Another one, if we want to reach consumers that are connected on Wi-Fi versus mobile data, also massive difference. Wi-Fi does not require as much energy being consumed. So again, here we're able to reduce, if we target those consumers on Wi-Fi, we would on average be able to reduce around 10% as well. So already quite a few things that we can start implementing that do not impact media performance KPIs, which of course, as marketers, this continues to be very important, because in the end we are marketers and we need to continue to sell products. But it does allow us already to have a great impact on our CO2 footprint in digital.
Thank you. You mentioned that you are working with some key partners to advance your responsible and sustainable strategy. Could you share a little bit more on that, and how you're working with companies like Google to advance your strategy?
Yeah. So I already mentioned that digital sustainability is still very nascent, right? So we're all learning, we're all trying to catch up, all trying to start measuring and reducing. So as I already mentioned previously, is that we're working with startups to be able to measure the carbon footprint and to identify levers for reduction. So on content with AdGreen, on media with Impact Plus, websites with Fruger. So we have different startups that we have identified that can support us on that. So that partnership is extremely important. Another one is, of course, with our agencies, because the agencies are supporting us in submitting that information into AdGreen, etc. But they're also the ones that are supporting us in implementing those campaigns. So they have been very close partners with us also in the test and learn approach that we've had. Another one, the associations, you already mentioned them as well. and IAB, we're working very closely with the IAB Europe to be able to set a standardization as well of specs. So by format, by platform, by device type that we're trying to target, so that we all know what specs or maximum specs we need to be able to reach our consumers without impacting performance, but that have a positive impact on the environment. And then, of course, with Net Zero, with the WFA, we're working very closely on developing that that sustainable measurement framework to be able to have a standardization industry of measuring carbon footprint. And then, of course, with Google, and other platforms as well, with whom we're able to identify and build a learning agenda to make sure that we continue to identify together what are those levers and develop new products as well. We've been working with the team in France on custom bidding, etc., to make sure that at one point we will be able to optimize our media campaigns towards a CO2 footprint as well. So yes, it's all about working with all of these partners together to making this happen.
Yes, it's a lot of collaboration, big challenges. So, as a conclusion, what would be your one advice or closing remark to people in the room?
Okay, there's two. The first one, I mentioned a lot the direct impact that we can have through the decarbonization of our digital activity. So this is, as marketers, etc., you can have this great impact there as well, where we have direct control. But there's also this massive indirect impact that we can have as well, and you alluded to it as well, Aude. We reach, in any given year, billions of consumers with our ads messaging. And consumers want to take more environmentally friendly choices. They want to consume more sustainably. Many of the times they don't know how, or they find it too difficult or too complicated. So through our ads messaging, we can have this massive impact on showing them how to use refills, on using more sustainable, buying products that have more sustainable packaging, on showcasing that, on recycling, etc. So there's so many things that we can give information to our consumers so that they can also reduce their environmental impact at home. So that is one. And the other one is around the fact that with the associations, etc., that we work with, we always see the same usual suspects around the same table, the same companies. And even though, for example, L'Oreal is the fourth largest advertiser worldwide, even if we reduce our carbon footprint, we won't make a dent into the global CO2 footprint for digital. So we really need everybody, more and more companies to come on board, because it's not complicated, it's easy to implement, and we can have a massive impact on the planet.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.